Hello everyone, this is Frankie Day from Frankie Day Models. Okay, today's video will be on the completion of the paintwork of the Saunders Row SR45 Princess Flying Boat. This evening we're going to have live action by applying the decals stickers they give you on the kit. Oh boy, I've been on this thing all last night and all day today. I finally got it done. And this came out, I was very pleased how this thing came out. I'm very happy. I finally got this thing almost done. I've got to get the decals on and it's finished. And I got a couple doors I got to put on it, which ain't no problem. And yeah, it's yeah, I'm pretty pleased with this thing. It came out very, very good. And it's a very huge airplane, to tell you the truth. Okay, without further ado, we're going to go out here and take a look at this thing. The Saunders Row SR45 Flying Boat. A little history behind this thing. I think you guys already know the history of it. Saunders Row was a company formed by a bunch of flying boat designers that designed flying boats during the war. They helped design the Short Shetland, the Solent, the Empire Flying Boat, and the Sunderland. And all these beautiful flying boats that they designed during the war. And so when they were going to design a big transport flying boats similar to the Martin Mars that the United States has. The SR45 came to view in 1944, right in the almost at the end of the tail end of the war. And the plans and the drawings and everything were conceived by then, and the aircraft actually was not constructed until around as late as 1949. By 1949, they started the construction of the SR45 Princess Flying Boat, and they realized at the time that flying boats were on their way out because they become obsolete, because they know that there's piston-powered aircraft out there, land-based aircraft out there that can fly equal distances as that of a flying boat. It can land all over the world, because during the war, a lot of airports were being built for need of landing aircraft during the war, and they remained there after the war, and they used this for commercial aircraft. And so primarily all land-based aircraft can fly all over the world with equal range as that of a flying boat, can land all over the place, and that kind of rendered the flying boat out of existence. Plus they had jet aircraft coming into view, as the de Havilland Comet came out. That was one of the first jets that came out, commercial jets that came out, that England brought out during the post-war years, and she was actually the successor to all flying boats and all piston-powered aircraft. And they hung on to the idea that flying boats, it's a possibility they could make a comeback, and they designed this thing very special as a floating ocean liner. It has a bar, it has sleepers, it has restrooms, it has galleys, it has lounges, it has all the comforts of that of an ocean liner, even the promenade parts of the plane you can walk around in. It was designed with a double bubble pressurized fuselage, with a wingspan of 220 feet. She weighed about 35,000 pounds, and she was very big. She went through a series of engines that they had at the time. The first one that came out was the Bristol Centaur, which is terribly underpowered. And they knew that the Saunders Row could do better. They went to at the Centaur. They went to the my gosh, what was it? The Proteus motors. The Proteus one actually weren't completed yet. They were in the phase of construction and design, where Bristol used the Centaur engines, and they went ahead and changed the power plant to the Proteus. It had 10 Proteus motors on this thing. The SR45, there was only 3 examples that was made. They had Gulf, Alpha, Aluma, November, and Gulf, Alma, Lima, October, and Gulf, Alpha, Lima, Papa. Gulf, Alpha, Lima, Papa was actually scrapped before before it was completed. They scratched off the inside of the building more. And knowing that they were having problems with the 2 remainder prototype flying boats that were flying. They had the Gulf Alpha Lima November, and also the Gulf Alpha Lima October. They had that going. That was the only 2 flying boats that they had, the prototype, and also they had the November. And the November was painted with the airline delivery and promotion to airlines. BOAC was going to get them, but they decided no, we'll lose if we buy this aircraft, because they knew that flying boats are out. And they had other companies that was going to buy it, and they decided the same thing. We're not going to decide to have it. So by 1960-65, these things were cocooned. They didn't use them anymore. But actually, they never did enter commercial service. They just kind of lingered around at the Isle of Wight, where they were designed at. And they just laid there for, I guess, for years on end until they decided to cocoon it, and the plane became obsolete. What it comes down to, the airplane was obsolete before its time. It became victim of its time. And a lot of parts of it went to the NASA program. I don't know if there's any parts of it today that are in museums or anywhere in existence. I don't know. But right now, the aircraft is not longer in service anymore. The maintenance cost is very exceptionally high, and a lot of people couldn't afford them because of the expense of them, the upkeep. Now, just for a little comparison check, over here we got the PB-2Y Coronado flying boat. The PB-2Y Coronado flying boat has a wingspan of 115 feet. That's how big the Coronado is compared to this thing. In comparison to scales. Shows you how big. This thing is 2 times bigger than the PB-2Y Coronado flying boat. I've got the beaching gear on here already. Got the props installed. I'm going to go ahead and put the chances on live action. That's going to be a treat for everybody. I got about 6 hours on the paintwork on this thing. There's the research on the color schedule of this thing. It has the Gulf Alpha Lima November, which this one was painted with white upper planing as a planned airliner version. And the paint also had white upper plating on top. And also it had the dull aluminum on top. What I did, wire brush this thing. I mixed gray with aluminum to take off the brilliance of the aluminum. But these things weren't shiny aluminum, they were more or less like the color it is. It's pretty realistic. So this is a big flying boat. And I really enjoyed making this thing and building it, and I'm glad I got this thing almost done. Okay. Tonight we're going to have live action on this thing. I'll set the camera over here like I did before. We'll be able to watch me put the stickers on this thing. And, so that's going to be a treat. Okay, that's about it for video number 5. The completion the paintwork and the assembly of the Saunders SR45 Princess Flying Boat. Also, as a technical note, SR45 did not stop there. They kept on going in other designs. Oh yes, the same people who designed this aircraft had a double fuselage version of the SR45, and they finally had another version. If it was contracted, if a company was going to buy it, they could make the amphibious kind. The undercarriage had a bogey type system, almost like that of a Herky-bird, and they scratch it off. So nothing, like I said, on this aircraft here, they just more or less trying to get this thing in service, but never arised. And too many yeah, maybes, and eventually just it plummeted downhill. They couldn't use it anymore. The aircraft became redundant. And they had a nuclear bomber too called the Queen. It was all nuclear powered. It was a huge thing, big. I mean, they were really going for the gusto, but the thing about it is, these things were built ahead of their time. And it would have been a perfect, this thing would have been perfect. It was built back maybe late 1930s. Just like the Martin Mars was. Now Martin Mars was built in 1938. And when the Mars came out, it served throughout World War II. If this would have came out at the same time Martin Mars would be, this thing would be in existence and be in service for a lot longer time, and it could use the same thing as a transport aircraft. But they didn't envision that at the time. Okay, that's about it right now. We're going to call this video an end. I'd like to thank all my new and old subscribers for tuning in and your wonderful candor, comments, and views. This is Frankie Day from Frankie Day Models signing off. Make Mama happy, take care of the little ones, stay focused when you drive, spend wisely, and you get yourself a kit and work on it. Enjoy yourself. And join me tonight for live action on the decal placement of the Saunders SR45 Princess Flying Boat. This is Frankie Day signing off. God bless you all, and say your prayers. We'll catch you later after a while. Bye, boys. Take care of yourself, fellas.